Hi, folks. It's Friday the 19th. It's time for our Friday updates. I truly, sincerely hope that what I'm doing helps people. I want to see people not fear this coming financial collapse, but actually prosper from it. So, at any rate, this is a continuation of what we've done over the last couple of weeks. So, let's dig into it. Let's get to the first slide and we'll get through this in short order. There's only 7 slides to this presentation. So basically, what we're starting off with is this is Trump's plan to basically restore America. And if you look at this and you listen in the coming months, this is essentially what he is putting out on the campaign platform for the 2026 midterms: sovereign borders, election integrity, sovereign currency, all the things we've been talking about, right? Reduce national debt, job generation, war on drugs, national security, war on crime, freedom of speech in foreign conflicts. I want to go back to one of these, though. I just ask you to take a screenshot of this. I don't want to waste a lot of time on it, but let's go to bullet point number 2, election integrity. I made an announcement a minute ago and asked you to go back and watch a 107 and Mary Crawley show that they just did. We posted it on this channel, and she, for those of you who don't know, is in prison. It's over what she did to protect our election integrity. We need to get her out. And I think that that event is going to rally around the people standing up and demanding that she gets out. But what's going to happen is when that happens, Trump is going to declare national emergency. And he's going to basically say that we're going to have voter IDs across the nation, paper ballots, new registration rolls. We're going to curtail gerrymandering, no Social Security cards of any kind, no voting rights, no entitlements. Basically, we're going to get these people out of this country and get back our sovereign borders, our sovereign nation, our basic foundational principles that are enumerated in our Constitution. Let's go down and let's break this down a little further. So this is basically what Trump has been announcing. I want to give you a little history that we talked about before. Always before there's an intentional collapse where the global elite slowly drive us into debt till we reach where we're at right now, where people can only afford the necessities, and then they collapse the market. They make no effort to fix anything. They just start the process over again and wait until we get back into debt to where we can't afford anything, and then they collapse it again. Trump's got a totally different plan, and we're going to review it real quick in a minute here. What he's going to do is not declare bankruptcy. He's going to create a soft financial collapse so that America comes out of this intact, not as the sole reserve currency of the world, not as the absolute dominant nation of the world, but as a principal, maybe the number one nation, maybe number 2, but I think it'll be number 1. But then he's going to do something that's never been done before. He's going to rebuild America and basically get us out of this financial difficulty by growing us out of the debt. So let's go on down and look, and we'll review what he's going to do to accomplish that. So if we'll go to the next slide, we'll review what he said he's doing. He's going to basically revalue gold at $20,000. And if you look at what's on that screen, it's currently on the books at a ridiculous $40.22. In the Great Depression in 29, gold was on the books at $22. That's what they always do, because the politicians don't want to have to declare bankruptcy. So they leave the gold on the books at an incredibly low price so that when things get bad, they can revalue the gold and they can make the debt to GDP ratio look better. So just revaluing our gold is going to give us $11 billion. And then he's already said that he is confiscated Bitcoin and used Bitcoin and gold as part of a strategic reserve along with XRP. And when he gets through confiscation, not buying, but through confiscation, a total of 1 million Bitcoin, he's going to raise the price of Bitcoin to $1 million per coin. You put that together, and the two of them are going to give us $6.2 trillion that he can use to basically impact the debt to GDP ratio so that it looks like to the rest of the world that America's solvent. And then what's he going to do? He's going to back our currency by gold based upon a stable coin. And then the stable coin purchases are going to be used to buy treasuries. And that's going to create the soft collapse of the United States. And he's bringing in a new Fed chairman who is going to see to it that we have low interest rates, because we have quite a bit of money that we have to to basically look at refinancing this year and next year. And we need low interest rates in order to not have that drive us into a catastrophic collapse. So that's phase one of what he's doing, basically create the soft collapse. Let's go on down and go to the next thing here. And what we see is this, everything he's doing, I don't care what you hear them saying, everything he's doing is based on the Constitution, it's based on the law of war, it's based on following guidelines that are constitutional. It's not like what they say. He's not a rogue out there doing things. So what's he telling me? He's passed legislation. He's passed an executive order, 13818, that basically authorizes him to confiscate the assets of those who are committing illegal crimes, meaning drug trafficking, meaning human trafficking, meaning all the various laws that have been passed. So basically, you're going to find in the coming months that he's going to come after many billionaires, after the banks, after the corporations, after the politicians, and he's going to clean house, and all that money is going to be confiscated to be used as part of the wealth transfer and or part of getting us completely out of debt. Let's go down to the next slide and we'll see how this plays out in practical terms. Now, we had this slide up before, but I've got some very significant new news for you. So we need to review this and I need to ask you to listen. So we've already know that XRP is going to be part of that strategic reserve. Why? What does the function that it provides? Whenever you have a financial collapse, the last thing they do is dry up the credit. And when that happens, then the logistics chain of the entire world is going to be basically brought to a screeching halt. That's the moment in which they're going to bring XRP out. And it's not going to be all that far down the road. Every piece of legislation that needs to be passed has been passed. The Bitcoin Act, the Big Beautiful Bill, the Genius Act. We're out from under the lawsuits now with the SEC. We have 17 ETFs coming out. XRP is now a bank. I mean, everything that we need to see in order to enable them to basically put XRP into application is there. And when that happens, XRP is going to go up. I expect within the next couple of months, we're going to see XRP, well, into the first quarter in double digits. And by the middle of the year, I think we're going to see it in triple digits. And who knows where it's going to go from there. So my absolute best pick for any investment you can make, in my opinion, is XRP. Now, remember, I'm not a financial counselor. I'm not a billionaire. I'm just a guy who does homework, who studies history, and who listens to the Lord. And the Lord came to me 3 years ago and said, never before in the history of man, as the average man had an opportunity to buy what was going to be the world's reserve currency. So I started buying it. It was 30 cents. So that's my number one recommendation. Now let's go on down. And gold. Gold is going to go up. He's already told us it's going to go to $20,000. But there's something I want to warn you about. When that happens, it's going to happen overnight. And if you've got a big position in gold, you're not going to lose your money, but it's not going to be liquid. You might have a hard time getting in and out. So let's go on down to my pick in the metals, which is silver. And I've got some very exciting news to tell you, and some very scary news to tell you, actually. Silver is grossly underpriced. For decades, it traded at 16-1 to gold. So meaning 16 ounces of silver, about 1 ounce of gold, but it's been held down forever. And so here's my first announcement. There's a second one to follow. JP Morgan has been the number one culprit in terms of holding silver prices down. They just stopped. They pulled all their paper out, and they basically bought 22 billion with a B dollars of silver, creating the largest reserve of silver of anybody out there. And they bought it at current prices. So here's what that tells you, folks. They're trying to tell you, you missed it. You missed the opportunity for silver in the 60s or in the 70s. It's done. It's had its run. No, with all the information that JP Morgan has, with all the clout that they have, if they just bought $22 billion worth of silver at 60 some dollars, you know that the upside is huge. And now I'm going to tell you the second piece of news, and it's going to tell you or give you an idea just how big that upside is. And I have to ask you to do something once I've told you what this is about. Samsung out of Japan just made a major announcement. They cracked the code for making a battery that can be charged quickly, that's non-flammable, and it has a range of up to 9 900 miles. That sounds fantastic, right? Well, it's good for silver prices, but it's absolutely horrible because it really, really is going to create a major problem for the entire planet. But we'll get into that in a second. So we might as well take some advantage of this as we can. So silver is going to become very, very short in supply. So Donald Trump is basically created or put out the Defense Production Act. And I believe that might relate to silver before it's over. It's going to relate definitely to all the minerals that we need for manufacturing, rare earth in particular, but I think silver, because here's what Samsung is doing. They're bringing out this new battery, and it requires several times more silver for every battery. Now, it's non-flammable, and it's got all those advantages, but it's going to take us, and we're already in a shortage of production of silver. And remember, you can't have your iPhone, your computer, your television, any electronics if we don't have silver. It is the quintessential mineral, even more important than oil. And what Samsung is going to do is basically push it on the batteries for the EVs, and it's going to get pushed for solar panels. And I'm telling you, we're going to have such a shortage of silver, you can't even imagine it. And that's where Trump is going to have to be forced into taking action in terms of the Defense Production Act. And he has not made this statement. I want to make this clear, but he might be forced to confiscate silver because we can't allow this to happen. Now, here's where I come in and I ask you to stand up. I'm going to do a series of shows as soon as I finish this financial series, and I'm going to talk about all the things we need to do to save this planet. And so what I'm asking you to do is to start to think about this. If this new battery from Samsung is going to basically deplete the silver supplies on the planet, that's crucial. That's catastrophic. There are things we can do. Donald Trump could say that nobody is allowed to send those batteries into the United States. Samsung, you're blocked out. Not just a high tariff, but you can't sell your batteries in this country. And if other countries around the world did it, we would avoid a catastrophic shortage in silver. But for right now, this means a real buying opportunity for you because silver is going to go up and up and up into the roof, and they're going to have to bring new mines on. And that means that to do that, the processed silver probably has to go to a couple of $100 in order to make it profitable to open these mines up that aren't really, really super efficient. So that's the story I want to tell you on silver. If we run out of silver, then there's going to be greater and greater demand on copper. And a couple of hints on how you would invest in silver. Those of you who are holding numismatic coins, forget it. You're not going to get that premium you thought you were going to get because basically the silver is going to be sought after for manufacturing. And they'll just buy those numismatic coins from you and basically melt them down and put them into automobiles, into whatever, into your computers. So forget it. You're not going to get a premium. You might as well get out from under it while you can. And the second thing is, if you're going to be investing in other than silver, well, actually, if you're going to invest in silver, you don't need to worry about investing in coins anymore. Just buy silver bars. And then if you're going to invest in mining, here's what you need to know. There's a lot of mines out there that look for long-term contracts so that they can have financial stability. And so basically they're selling futures. With what's coming in the silver market, if you invest in any mining operation out there that is basically committed to long-term contracts, they're in trouble. You're not going to get any return. So if you're going to go out and do that, you need to do some real hard research, and only those mines that look productive, and you need to really dig into what they're doing, and that are selling their silver at current market prices are organizations that you want to invest a dime in. Okay, folks, so that kind of wraps it up on silver. What I'm basically telling you is we have not hit the top on silver. It's going to go up and up and up and up, but you need to be aware that if it goes high enough that we are basically in a severe shortage, Donald Trump may be forced to basically confiscate our silver. And as we go up and the shortages in silver occur, then you're going to want to start to look at copper. So let's go on down and let's talk about the currencies again. So basically we're going to look at, is it practical to think that there's going to be a currency reset? And Donald Trump has said over and over again, he says we have to have financial parity. Every nation in the world has to have a currency that's relatively close together. That's essential for Nasara. That's essential for peace and prosperity. So Trump has been going around the country setting things up to accomplish that. He's been involved now in 8 peace agreements. And he's basically, why is he in, since we got this currency up here for the dinar, what's he doing with that country, with Vietnam, and with Venezuela? Let's go through that real quickly. So the dinar, everybody says, is ready to go. And the last time I checked, it was $763 to purchase $1 million worth of dinar. And if what they're saying is true, you never know. There's a lot of misinformation. But if it were to revalue at $7, you've made a very handsome profit. So this is a currency that I think is poised for reset. So is the Vietnam dong. They both meet all the criteria. They basically are stable now. They have no wars going on. They have lots and lots of minerals. They both have domestic and international markets. They're absolutely secure and solid. They have minimal debt. There's no reason in the world they shouldn't be allowed to be on the Forex and be able to revalued at not be a junk currency anymore. So you got a piece up there in the upper left-hand corner that tells you where you can buy. You can get the currencies in currency exchanges. You can get it at some banks. You can get it online at X. Look at the slide, exchangeofamerica.com. And if you believe what I'm telling you, then you might want to go out and buy a little bit. I think it's very, very soon to be reset. Both the Iraqi dinar and the Vietnam dong, and eventually it may not look like it right now, but I want to talk for a second about Venezuela. It's in the news, and maybe this is something we'll add to this presentation. Why Donald Trump is there is for a myriad of reasons. Yes, it's about drugs. They do about 10% of the drug traffic coming into the United States, and I don't care where it's coming from. It's laced with fentanyl in many instances by the time it gets to the streets, and it's killing hundreds of thousands of people. We're losing more to deaths from drugs than we lost in any war. So that's one facet of why we're in Venezuela. Another facet is because they're training terrorists and sending into this country, and that has to do with our border issue. So there's a second reason he's there. We, the United States, were the ones that developed their oil fields in the first place, and then under Chavez, they came in and nationalized them. He wants that oil back. I'm telling you, it's always got to do something with oil. But in my mind, the most important reason he's there is because he knows that Venezuela was largely responsible, I should say, for stealing the 2020 election when they innovated the Smartmatic technology, and they spread that around to the world. And with Tina Peters' story being told and other whistleblowers coming out, we're about to find out that the 2020 election was stolen and that elections in 71 other countries were stolen. No nation in the world can have sovereignty if they don't have elected officials that are elected to protect the interest of the people. So I just want to let you know all of that's coming out. In terms of what's happening, there's going to be a second currency reset down the road. Who knows how long it's going to be. But basically, eventually, the Zimbabwe bonds are going to revalue. And when Trump gets Venezuela under control, and basically we get back in control of the oil, and the Maduro regime is gone, and everything stabilizes, Venezuela has the largest confirmed oil reserves in the world, and their currencies will rightfully revalue. So if anybody's out there and they are skeptical and miss out on this opportunity to invest in the Iraqi dinar or the Vietnam dong, you'll have a second chance with the ZIM and a second chance with the Bolivar from Venezuela. So that's basically the story on the currencies. And I want to bring up one more topic. I don't have a slide on it, but I want to comment on something. This is all about voter fraud. If we're going to get our integrity back, we're going to have to get our voting back. So going back, Donald Trump passed the executive order 13848. And it's basically saying that he's going to basically change the election voting rules so that we can have election integrity. And that's part of why we need to get Tina Peters out. We've got to have election integrity. As I've said many times, you can't have a sovereign nation if you don't have sovereign borders, sovereign currency, and sovereign elections. Those are the three quintessential things. And trust me, America is not in this alone. All the nations around the world understand that they have for decades and decades and decades and decades been under the control of the banking empires from Europe. And we need to get out. And Stalin himself said, I think it was Stalin or it was Lenin, that implementing a central bank in a nation is 90% of communizing it. And so the whole world is on Donald Trump's side. The whole world is rooting for us. I don't care what it looks like on the news. We're basically the tip of the spear for God, and we're going to get all of the finances of the world brought to parity. We're going to bring in peace and prosperity. We're going to bring in the greatest Christian revival the world has ever seen. So be part of this. And remember, go back to what's happening in silver and let your voices be known. We don't want the Samsung batteries coming in here and basically sucking up all the silver to the point that it creates a catastrophic problem for the technological revolution that's at the doorstep. So please, let your voices be heard. We'll see you next week. And by the way, Merry Christmas.